New hair. So, today I want to talk about lying and how we all do it, and we've all been taught to do it, and we're all conditioned to do it, and so we just keep doing it. And now the lies have been going on for so long, we don't even know how to stop. We don't even know when we're doing it. Okay, so for example, when we meet someone in the UK, we say, "Hi, how are you?" Now, the first thing is that we don't actually care how the person is. It's a meaningless bunch of words that we say. Hi, how are you? We don't actually want the real answer. We don't actually want the truth. Again, it's just a meaningless gesture. So we say, "Hi, how are you?" And then the other person is conditioned to say, "I'm fine, how are you?" So basically, you're just going nonsense, 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 nonsense. And it's almost like, okay, now we've got that out the way. Let's get down to business. So we start our conversations with a lie, which is pretending that we care about someone when we don't. We pretend that we're listening to someone and we're not. So I've noticed that sometimes in my family. So, for example, I might say to my mum the truth sometimes because it's funny. So if she says, "So how are you?" I'm like, "Oh, well, only a couple of stops away from the food bank." If money's tight, for example, my mum will say, sometimes she'll be like, I don't know, she's not quite as clueless as saying, "Oh, that's nice, dear," but she'll be like, sometimes something along those lines of "Okay, that's nice, dear. Would you like to speak to your father?" So essentially what she's saying is, I didn't really want to know, I wasn't really asking, and now that you're telling me, I don't really know how to deal. Can we move on? But sometimes it's fun to actually speak the truth because then you're actually highlighting the fact that I'm just flagging up that what we're talking about right now is bullshit. So we also do this when we go dating. Trying to think of some of the other lies that we do. I don't know. It's just constant, isn't it? Yeah, I feel under pressure on a date, if you like. It's like you're lying about, I don't know, it's kind of like you're giving off the impression that you're like super exciting and wonderful and amazing and whatever. And there's this kind of also prescribed thing. For example, let's say you go on a date, that if someone said, "How are you?" that you wouldn't say, "Oh," which my truth right now would be, "Energetically, I'm really tired. I would like to sleep for 2 weeks and be wrapped up in cashmere and fluffy things and just fed food and massaged and taken care of and maybe have lots of sex." Well, I don't know, that might really work on a first date, but if that's your truth, we don't really say it. We go into the la 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 energy of the "I'm so fabulous" energy. We don't like to share the truth because our fear is that we won't be accepted. So we kind of show what we perceive will lead to a good result. And I guess the result, if you like the person on a date, is that you get a second one, right? This kind of thing. So yes, we've kind of been built on a society that's kind of based around lies. I mean, I think the schools are lie. They're pretending that it's education, but actually it's indoctrination to get you to work, in a job for the rest of your life. It's not really they're designed for you, because if it was designed for you, then it would be individual, because obviously none of us are the same. One size doesn't fit all. You would need your own personal education system. So my niece is an illustrator, and obviously a lot of the academic stuff doesn't really rock her boat, and I mean, you could argue that it's good to know it, but if you were really gearing that school around her, her whole schooling life would be geared around her becoming an illustrator and how to make that happen. And it's not. So yeah, that's a lie. There's so many things that are a lie. And I'm too tired to even think of any more, but I'm sure you can think of examples of things that are a lie. Like, yeah, so I think the authenticity challenge for me has been a real challenge this time because I think I've changed. I really have. And I have different boundaries. And I think I'm making different agreements with myself. And one of the agreements that I'm making is to be kinder to myself and not put myself in situations that are abusive. I don't need, or brutal, sorry, not abusive, brutal. To I don't need to harm myself to prove that I'm a caring person. I don't need to give above and beyond myself. I don't need to sacrifice myself for some kind of like proof of truth or even to prove, even to be authentic. I shouldn't have to, that shouldn't be a brutal process for me. That's not necessary. It's not really kind. But I want it to be a more vulnerable process. Well, not vulnerable. I want it to be more explosive. I want it to be more explosive. I want it to be more exciting. I want it to be, yeah, I want it to, yeah, and I need it to be all those things. So, yeah, that's why we're moving to Patreon. If you haven't heard me say, that's what's happening. So, yeah, I'm fascinated by authenticity because for me, authenticity represents getting to the truth. And like I've said before, like even the fact that we wear clothes and pretend that that is our natural selves, the roles we play, I'm a businessman or I'm a this or I'm a that, they're just all of its roles, and I don't mean it's lies it's not always, the lies aren't always like evil lies. It's like everyone's playing a game. Everyone is playing a game, and that's fine as long as you know that you're playing a game. When you don't realize that you're playing a game, then effectively you've kind of gone crazy, and the problem is when I was listening to what's her name? She's amazing. I've got her book. Oh, come on, name. I really want her name to come to me. I was listening to this amazing speaker today, and she was saying, I'm just going to find it. It was on a Hay House podcast. Caroline Miss. She was basically saying that, she was asked to speak about the Pope in one of her talks, and she's like, well, I'm just going to say the truth. And she said, and I don't know what the words are that she used, but she basically said, why do you get 7 agreements? Or it's not agreements, but when we get 6, something to do with the religion of the Catholic religion. She said, I don't want to be lied to anymore. I just don't want any bullshit. And she said, I'm 60, I don't care. And I thought, yeah, that's, and she even said, people who are telling the truth these days are getting killed. People who are telling the truth are getting jailed. Like, because no one wants the game to end, because this game was really fun for some people, but unfortunately this game is really hurting others, and we have to realize that this game of life is kind of gone wrong, and it's not fair if the game is good for some and not good for others. That's not a very nice game, and if you're in a playground and you're playing games where it's good for some and not good for others, then the ones that it's good for and don't want to change the game would be called bullies. And so now if we say, actually, you're being a bully, then because these people aren't in a playground, they're in the adult playground, you get put in jail for calling people out. But luckily there are a few brave people that are willing to do that. So that is my quest for truth and freedom and authenticity and all things good. So if you're enjoying this authenticity challenge, please leave comments. I love to hear what you have to say. It's so interesting to me, and I love that we can have a conversation like this online from anywhere in the world. And if you want to put your hand in the pocket and give me some money and invest in me doing this kind of thing full time, because there's so many other things that I want to do on Patreon and that they're coming, some really exciting conversations and interviews, then feel free to join me over on Patreon. Hopefully we'll be set up either end of this week or next. It's very exciting. So I hope to see you there. All right, loads of love. Bye.